Basic settings. Jesus Christ.
Stan, why won't you be friends with Grandma?
Dad, I just really don't want to pay attention to this
Grandma
thing.
is in the hospital, and you won't even be friends with her.
All right, Dad, I'll add Grandma as a friend.
That's better. Oh, and I sent you a funny picture and you didn't respond to it.
Dude, fuck Facebook, seriously.
I can give you all the things everything that you wanted before. If you listen.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How in the hell is everybody? This is AJ Orsini, and I am your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. And tonight, lucky number 7, we are on episode 7 of Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and this is a special day. And this is a special day because it is an eve. It is an eve to a great holiday. I'm not fond on many holidays, which you will learn over time, my disdain for holidays, but I do enjoy Thanksgiving. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving's Eve, if you will. So, of course, my house is hot as fuck on account of all the cooking, all the preparation be taking place. We do celebrate Thanksgiving in my home. No, we don't have family over. Not because that they're not welcome, but because it just kind of always seems to work out that way. That we don't have any third-party family members coming to my home. It will be me, my wife, and my son. We will have a traditional spread of shit that I eat, and not the shit that you guys eat. Thanksgiving's a big holiday in this house. For instance, there will not be a turkey. There's never, ever a fucking turkey in my house. Like, ever. I don't mind turkey, but I'm not big on fucking turkey. So it has been replaced. We have pulled the wool over everyone's eyes. We got a fucking chicken, a whole chicken in there. We got the pernil going. There's of course some stuffing and some trimmings here. We got a full spread that's going to be available to both myself and my son and my wife tomorrow. Thanksgiving's going to be huge. It's going to be huge-ish. And of course, in traditional Thanksgiving fashion in my home, we do not sit around the table and stuff our faces and faking conversation and feigning interest in each other's lives like the rest of you fuckers do. We will be doing our traditional Thanksgiving binge. That's right. Usually Marvel tends to put shit out for November, Thanksgiving, and we usually tend to binge out on that. One of my favorite Thanksgivings of all time, when they put Jessica Jones out. And I'm sure this Thanksgiving will surpass it because last Friday Netflix released the Punisher series on Netflix. And all I've been able to hear are positive reviews. I can't wait to see it. I have purposely put it off. My wife and I have purposely put it off for Thanksgiving. It's about 12 episodes, I think. So usually we'll begin watching it on Thanksgiving Eve and then just fucking ram it home Thanksgiving Day. So we will begin our binge watching tonight once we put the little man to bed, and then we will get our Punisher in tonight, and then we will Punisher it up tomorrow as we stuff our faces with the great food that my wife will be preparing for us. I am not a Thanksgiving cooker. I guess I kind of stay out of her way for Thanksgiving. I do cook in my home. We rotate a lot when it comes to the cooking. I'll cook, she'll cook. We make kind of the same dishes. We also make our own signature dishes. She has a fantastic Asian. Yes, I'm the Asian one, but she has a fantastic Asian chicken, and I'm a meatloaf guy. So that's that. And Thanksgiving is tomorrow for those of you out there who are going to be with your families and trudging through the weather tomorrow. Sucks to be you, but try to have a good time. You know, if you can sneak off with your cell phone and kill some time, that's great. I've never really been good with the whole family setting thing. I know I am a husband and a father myself, but it's always kind of been not my thing. It's never been my thing, ever. So we can just go ahead and move forward from that. I can't do the family thing at all. It gets me itchy. It's boring. It's killer. I've done it. Several homes, my family, my wife's family, I've done it several times. And no disrespect to anybody, but I can't stand it. I want to be home. I want to be eating my food. I want to be watching my TV. And to be honest, I don't want people around me. I'm turning into a hermit as I get older. A really big fucking hermit. I don't want to do shit. The older I get, the less I want to fucking do. I'm only 34, yet I already feel like I'm 54. I don't really want to do shit. It's very limited, you know. I'm like that old dog that just stays off death. Not a whole lot of movement, just does enough to just not die. And I got flies in my eyes, and the crust is starting to win the war, and it's just a mess. So that's my life. So Thanksgiving is tomorrow. I hope you guys, in all seriousness, I hope you guys do have a wonderful holiday. I'm going to enjoy myself. I have fucking earned it. My family has fucking earned it. We've been through quite the ordeal this past month with Puerto Rico and with my school stuff and just with tensions amongst the family and just been a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of unsung heroes in my life that have reached out to me recently and given me some support. So I want to thank them. They know who they are. I had a wonderful conversation recently, and I'll get more into this on future episodes because the shit that we talked about, I definitely want to do on this show, and it will probably take more than a fucking hour to do it. But I had a conversation with a buddy of mine who is a wrestler, and he's currently working the indie scene. His name is Eric Jaden, and he's been like a brother to me pretty much since the beginning of my career. And we've always been tight. We've rode the roads together. We've told stories. We've had a lot of bonding experiences over the years, and we just had a wonderful conversation. And I say wonderful in a very sarcastic manner because it was a very just frustrating, just getting all your grief out type conversation. And so I appreciate that. And if he's listening right now, thanks, bro, for the conversation. I know he checks out my episodes every now and then, so thanks for the conversation. You know we're going to get into that shit again, and hopefully the microphones will be on this time because I think people need to hear the shit that we were saying. I think it's getting to a point now where it's kind of getting old about the fact that it's a behind-the-scenes conversation. I'm a big believer in whatever happens in the locker room should stay in the locker room, and I have no intentions of breaking that decorum, but a lot of the stuff that we were discussing are things that kind of go far beyond just locker room stuff. You know, it's business stuff, it's personal stuff, it's all kind of intertwined. So I definitely want to have that conversation on the actual podcast. So if you are listening, Eric, we've got to do that again with the mics on and be as uncensored as we were the other day. I don't want to have a conversation that's tailored for an audience. Like, I just want to fucking be real and guttural and just fucking do it. So that'll be that. So I've had some people in my life really come through for me this past month, really, to be honest. It's been stressful. So I think I said it on the last podcast. Like, I was not in a good place that day. But I'm doing better now. I'm doing much better now on the stress levels. Although I was aggravated by a recent conversation that I had online. And I use conversation in quotations because it just seems to me like when people get on social media, it becomes everything is a fact on social media. Everything is true to its word. Everything is on the up and up, and it just isn't that way. So recently, I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine, again off of social media, and it got me aggravated. And I don't get aggravated a lot by people. People don't really tend to get to me, and the reason for that is because I don't care enough. I honestly don't. I don't care enough about people's opinions and how they feel about me to really get worked up by it. You know, I've been called every name in the book. I've had bad shit happen to me in the past. You know, I just kind of grown this thick skin about things. I I don't care. It doesn't affect me. Social media stuff doesn't affect me. Locker room stuff doesn't affect me. I'm kind of Teflon in that way, where it's whatever. I just kind of go about my business. The only person that could really get to me, like really piss me off, and not just piss me off like in conversation or in a situation. I mean, like, the only person who on a daily basis can fucking get to me whenever that person wants to is my wife. She's the only one that can get to me. And that's only because I do genuinely care about how she feels, and I do genuinely care about what she thinks. So when you invest in that person, obviously you're going to get your feelings all twisted up and things are going to happen. So my wife is really the only one that can really, truly get to me. Anybody else, outside of my immediate family, like, it's going to take a lot to really get to me. So maybe I was in a really bad place recently because I had a conversation with somebody this week that fucking aggravated me. Just really fucking got to me and I don't even know why I was this invested in it. I don't even know why. Like, I don't know why I was determined to be right on this. But I quickly realized that it's not really a conversation about right or wrong. It was a question about fact and opinion, and the difference between the two. Because sometimes I feel like perception can change things. I feel like when a person has a certain perception of something, that they confuse that perception with fact. That it is what it is because I believe it, I can conceive it to be. That's not how facts and truth work. Facts and truth are what they are. They're the facts and they're the truth. You can manipulate things to your advantage. You can change certain elements to your narrative if you'd like. But at the end of the day, truth is truth and fact is fact. And I'm being very vague right now, so I'm going to start with the specifics. The conversation that I had was about NXT and its true purpose and why it exists and what it is. And the conversation didn't start off that way. We were talking about TakeOver. I didn't mention the TakeOver on the last show because to me, Survivor Series was the dominant story to me because it's one of the big four pay-per-views, and in my opinion, it deserved the most attention. I understand that NXT usually does better on these weekends when they have the TakeOver pay-per-view combo, and we'll get into why in a second. But yeah, so we were talking about War Games, and at the time, I hadn't seen all of it yet. At the time, I've since seen it now, and it was an awesome show. And from the bits and pieces that I saw before, I really got the inclination that it was going to be a good show. So we're talking about War Games, and I had not seen it yet. So he's filling me in on things that were happening on the show, and Velveteen Dream's tights, and the way that they utilized the two rings without actually utilizing it, saving it for the War Games. And then he started giving me the spiel about the cage with not having a top on it, and the different rules with the shark cages, and, well, that's not War Games. It is War Games, folks. It's just their War Games. I know you got an erection when you saw War Games come up on the screen, and William Regal's putting it over, and War Games, and everyone got an erection and creamed their pants for the most part. Because here we go again. They're taking an old concept and they're trying to bring it back. And for years, I think this was like, War Games was like the Sting of match stipulations. It was always the one that never could make it to the WWE for whatever reason. Kevin Dunn didn't feel like they could film it. Two rings was kind of a hassle for the building. Where do we put the cage? Do we hang it up? We already have problems with hanging up the Elimination Chamber and the Hell in a Cell. Do we really want the aggravation of holding up a dual ring-sized cage? Limitless excuses as to why it never happened. And listen, War Games was what it was. It was a great match, first of all. The 9 guys in this matchup really fucking killed it. They had a great time doing it, I'm sure. And they get to go home and say, fuck it. We were the first WWE War Game. I was going to say Star Wars. The first WWE War Games match. Fuck the world. They don't give a shit. So they had a great match. Everybody went out there and did their damn job. And then everybody hit the Facebook and started talking about the fucking top on the cage. Well, it doesn't have a top on the cage, so it's not War Games. No. That's not how this works. You don't get to pick and choose that. I get that it's not the War Games that we're used to, but it had 2 rings. It had a dual size cage, dual size in the sense of 2 rings. It was a dual ring sized cage. Okay, they had stables involved with it, and they just did it different. That's it. They just did it. It took a concept from 30 years ago and made sense for now, because even Triple H said during his conference call, if you guys didn't get a chance to hear that, he was asked about not having the roof on the cage, and he said, well, we didn't want to limit the performers. A lot of the performers that we have in NXT now, they're a lot more creative than back in 1987. And a lot of the guys thought it'd be easier for them if they didn't have the roof, so that they can do things off the top of the cage if they needed to, or if they needed the extra room. Because for all you historians out there, for all you fucking people out there that keep trying to push the issue about the fact that it didn't have a fucking cage, let's go back to the cage with the top on it for a second. Because you know one guy who would have been grateful, who would have been ecstatic to do a War Games without a fucking top on it? Brian Pillman would have loved to have done a War Games match without a fucking top on it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, head over to the old YouTube or pay your damn subscription fee and head over to the WWE Network and find out what happened to Brian Pillman when he got backdropped by Sid inside the War Games and his feet got caught on the cage and he damn near broke in half. There's a fucking guy who could have used no top on that cage. Well, it's not War Games to me. This is where the conversation started. Because it's, well, that's not War Games to me. Okay, well, who the fuck are you? Seriously. It's a War Games match. That's what it is. You can perceive it as something else. You could not consider it something else. But it's a War Games match. It may not be something you like. You don't have to like it. But it's a War Games match. There's no changing the fact about it. And the fact that there were a lot of legends who participated in War Games matches back in WCW, back in the day, who signed off on this. They're like, this is a great idea. This is really going to showcase our talent. This is a great idea. A lot of people signed off on this. And for fans to just be like, well, that's not my War Games. No one gives a shit if it's your War Games. It's their fucking War Games. So if you don't want to see their fucking War Games, don't pay them to see it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't what I was used to. I also grew up with War Game matches, and it wasn't what I was used to. But that doesn't make it bad. Those 9 guys went out there and killed it. They had a great match. It started off iffy, but as soon as the Authors of Pain got in there, as soon as Killian Dane got in there with the blood and the tables and the suplex it was nuts. It was nuts. It was a great match. So that's where fact and perception, the conversation really fucking started. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And he started talking, and I'm listening to him, and I said, what exactly do you think NXT is? Because the more we talked about the talent on NXT, the more he started saying, man, it just sucks that every time these NXT guys go to Raw and SmackDown, they get crushed. I just wish these guys could stay in NXT. And I just thought that was the stupidest fucking thing that ever came out of his mouth. I just wish these guys could stay in NXT. Do they have to get called up? And he's not the only person that I've heard say this. I've read this online quite a few times. I'm in a lot of groups, not because I want to be, because I constantly keep getting added to them. And if I wanted to eliminate myself from a group, I'd be here all fucking day eliminating from groups. It also helps with some of the networking sometimes when I share shit out and I want to get them to wrestling fans and see what they say and get feedback. So I stay in a lot of these groups, and I see it in groups all the time. Oh, I just wish these guys can stay in NXT. I just wish these guys could just stay there. Why the fuck would they want to stay in NXT? Now, I know that there's a lot of positives to it. Creatively, a lot of these guys love NXT. They're able to pitch ideas, and these ideas are then heard and then tweeted, and then they get a chance to perform it, and they get a chance to really go out there and shine and feel like they're a part of the process, like they used to do back in the day when you'd pitch a gimmick, and you'd put a gimmick on yourself, and you'd cut your hair or do something drastic, or just think outside the box. It's like, well, I'm a part of a roster of like 24 people, so what can I do that's different from 23 other guys? You know, that's the way people used to think. instead of trying to fit into this formula of what you're supposed to do. Well, I'm black, so I guess I'm a street thug, or I'm Asian, so I guess I'm subservient, or whatever the case may be. You have the creative, you have not the creative, you have some creative freedom, definitely more than you have on Raw and SmackDown on NXT. So I can see that being a plus. The easy schedule, always being in Florida. With the exception of these road tours, I mean, for the most part, you're in Florida all the time. You're in Orlando. So that's going to be great. You're a part of the WWE, but at the same time, you're not on the road. That's a bonus, especially for guys like the older guys. Like Bobby's got family in Florida, you know, from his Impact days, so he doesn't have to move around a whole lot. Shinsuke was coming from Japan, just getting acclimated to not only the system in WWE, but living in the States. I mean, there's a lot of bonuses to that. So I get why I get some of the positives to staying in NXT. But I told him, I said, NXT is a developmental though. You don't want to stay in developmental. That's not good for your career. You need to get to the major leagues. You want to get called up to the main roster. You know, it's like playing AA ball, you know. All the people in that town. The best example that I could give, I used to live in Maine. Okay, I used to live in Portland. I used to live in Old Orchard Beach, and I used to live in Maine. And in Maine, in Portland, Maine, they have this. I think it's either AA or AAA. It's the Portland Sea Dogs. It's baseball. Okay, and they have an affiliation to some major league team. I don't know if it's the Red Sox or something like that, but they have a baseball team called the Portland Sea Dogs. And because it's like the only sports team really based in Maine, I mean, the people are crazy for it. You know, they go nuts. They absolutely love it. So they go nuts for it. They purchase all the tickets. They purchase all the gear. It's a big deal. The Portland Sea Dogs, or at least when I was living there, this was many, many moons ago, 17 years ago maybe, give or take. But it was a big deal then. It really was. And the building was full all the time. It was fun. It was a great experience. But it's AA ball. It's AA ball. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the Boston Red Sox were the major league team that they were assigned to. You know, you get a guy who's a Portland Sea Dog, he's batting .350, you know, he's batting third in the lineup, and the stadium is full every week, and he's playing like a madman. He's got MVP considerations, and the team is looking like a championship team, and things are just going great. Things are awesome. You couldn't be happier. And then right there in the postseason, you got a phone call from the Boston Red Sox. Hey, we need a right fielder going into the postseason. We need some help. We need an extra bat. You want to come? You know what the guy's going to say? Hell yes. Hell yes. I'm already on the bus. I didn't even get dressed. I have my stirrups on still. I'm on the bus. I'm headed to Boston right now. Why? Because it's the majors. It's the major leagues. It's what you're working for. You want to get to the prime spot. You want to be the top guy. And you can't be the top guy in developmental. You have to be on the main roster, the main brand. And brand is the word that I was using. And I've since learned that perhaps brand is the wrong word. But I'm using the term because that's what the WWE uses. The Raw brand, the SmackDown brand. In essence, NXT is kind of its own brand in some ways. But not a whole lot. For the most part, NXT is a feeding system. It's a farm system. It's developmental. This is where you go to ply your trade, figure out what works and what doesn't. And then when you find something that works, you get shipped to the majors. You get sent to the main roster. For some reason, this idea boggled everyone's fucking mind. Well, NXT is a brand. No, it's not. It's developmental. No, dude, it's a brand. How in the fuck is this a brand? How the hell is NXT a brand? And then everything out of his mouth was just, I think that's the part that aggravated me. It was just like, how, what? No. Like things like, well, they have their own pay-per-views. That was the one that I heard. They have their own pay-per-views. To my memory, perhaps I'm wrong about this, NXT's never had a fucking pay-per-view. Not even once. NXT's never had a pay-per-view. I have never once called my local cable service provider or hit my. I have Optimum in my house. I live in Brooklyn. I have Optimum. Okay, I have never once hit the Optimum button to go to pay-per-view to select an NXT takeover. It's never happened. It's never happened ever. NXT takeover is a network special. It's never been a pay-per-view. It's a network special. You know, like Holy Foley or ride-along stories. It's content. It's content. That's all that it is. It's not a fucking pay-per-view. For the record, the WWE doesn't run pay-per-views anymore. It's become an obsolete system now that they have the WWE network. And you can't sit here and say, well, NXT is so special that it should still be its own brand because even if it's network special, it's one of the highest rated and most viewed specials on the network, thus making it popular. Okay, it's popular. That still doesn't make it a brand. It's the developmental system. Okay, the only reason why it's popular is because it has the exposure from the network. Okay, all the other developmentals before it, FCW, Deep South, OVW, all were awesome companies. All had awesome talent. I made the point online. Could you imagine if they would have had the network in 2002 with that OVW group? The Randy Orton, the Lesnars, the Cenas. Oh, dear God. If you would have had a network in 2002, forget it. Forget it. That would have been crazy great television. Crazy great television until they all got called up. You know, can you imagine Leviathan live on paper? That would have been great. It would have been great. Sure, those guys were still green at that point, and they didn't get better until years after the fact, but it's not the point. A lot of these guys you're seeing on NXT are not that great. They're not that great. They're adjusting. Danny Burch, Orny Lorcan. I know people will pick and choose their stars, but there's a lot of guys who are very talented and have a lot of potential but aren't there yet. That's why they're on NXT. Okay? It's a developmental. They're developing their talent so that they can be useful in the real spots, which is Raw and SmackDown. Now, can I concede that NXT on occasion is better than the main product? For instance, this weekend, what was better, TakeOver War Games or Survivor Series? I can make an argument for Survivor Series, but I can see if someone said, TakeOver is better. Well, TakeOver kind of has an unfair advantage. That's the one part of being the developmental that actually works in their favor because they don't have to fill time. You can create storylines and make them work over time because your NXT show is not on network television. You're not fighting for ratings. You're not doing what Raw and SmackDown's doing. You don't have to put the best product every single week just to get the viewers to come back. There's a lot of NXT shows that happen weekly on Wednesdays that are garbage. Garbage. No good. Absolutely no good. Even shows that don't further storylines. They just kind of fucking exist, which is weird. Like some of these NXT shows are garbage, but the TakeOver shows are ridiculous. But the TakeOver show is 2 hours, 5 matches, 6 if it's heavy. That means they're in and out. In and out. They give you the best shot they have, and then they get the fuck out. So it feels great. NXT feels great. They go in, they do a bunch of crazy shit, and then they break out. Survivor Series was like 4 hours long, not including the pre-show, which was like 6 hours. That's too long. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, well, why don't they just shorten that shit down? That would be costing them so much money. It's ridiculous. They have to fill that time. It's not an option. They've got to fill that time. So it's kind of an unfair advantage at that point. And that's why a lot of these guys, when they come from NXT up to the main roster, that's why they don't exist. I mean, excuse me, that's why they're not that they don't exist. They're not Cena. No, I could see them clearly. But it's not about that. It's just the transition from NXT and the main roster is a complete jolt because in NXT, you have the time to bloom. It's a developmental. They're patient. Take your time. tell the story, grab the audience, execute the plan. Very simple. It's ABCs in NXT. It's not ABCs on the main roster. On the main roster, it's get over right now. Right now. Get over. Well, he can't get over. Okay, well then that's it. Get the fuck out of the way. We're going to bring in the next person and see if they can get over. And the people who get over the fastest are the winners. Those are the people that we're going to push. If you can get over right fucking now, we'll push you. If not, then that's it. We move on. And is it fair? No. But when you do have television and you do have ads and you do have sponsorship situations and you do have time that you have to spend getting over your characters and telling your storylines to keep the viewer. Not only that, but sometimes USA Network will put certain things on Vince to fit in and pop a huge rating for the other shows on the network, because who the fuck watches the USA Network when they're not watching Raw? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question. What the fuck is even on the USA Network? I don't know. I think I was flipping channels one time and bumped into Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's pretty good. If you could just do Commando and Raw on a random fucking loop, I'd be straight. But I don't know. And that was, and going back to my original point, that's what aggravates me, because people will hear these facts and they will say, well, in my eyes, it's a brand. How is that even a part of, what? How is that even a contribution to what we're talking about? In my eyes. Whenever somebody argues a fact with in my opinion or in my eyes or I feel, they've instantly lost the argument. It's a fact. It's a fact. I could look at a football and say that in my eyes, this is a basketball. I feel like this is a basketball. You know what? I'm going to be honest. In my opinion, I think it's a basketball. No, bitch. It's a football. And no matter how much voodoo you put on it, it's going to be a football until the end of fucking time. It's not a goddamn basketball. NXT is not a brand. It is a developmental farm system dedicated to feed Raw and SmackDown as it dies of extreme hunger. And let's talk about extreme hunger. Okay? Because we've had some NXT call-ups, and I am using air quotes as I say that. This past week, we've had some NXT call-ups. And a special return. Yes, you nerds. I'm talking to you. Because we do this shit all the time. Every fucking time I go on the internet. This person's returning. Guaranteed. They're in the building. They're coming out. This is going to happen. It's going to be a surprise. I don't know how it could be a surprise if you're telling the whole world at 3 p.m. that at 8 p.m. they're going to surprise us. It's not really a surprise at this point. But the beautiful part is that it can still be a surprise sometimes. Because more often than not, you fuckers have it wrong. Yes, we all knew Paige was returning. Yes, we knew that the plan, the minute those two fucking psychopaths split up, it all was going to be right back in the world of Paige, and she would be back. Well, she didn't come back when all you losers thought so. She came back on her time. More importantly, she came back on WWE's time. Because not only did she make her return, but she brought some friends. So she returns to Monday Night Raw this past week during the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match with Sasha and Mickey in the ring. Paige's music hits and the place loses its fucking mind. It got unglued. Okay? She looked a little different, by the way. I don't know. She's aged a bit. She had a glow to her. I don't know. Definitely didn't have a tan. I'll tell you that much right now. But Paige returns. She tells everybody if they missed she asked if everybody, if they missed her, which of course is a rhetorical question because half of those people have her pictures stored on their phone by now. So anytime they feel the need to be nostalgic about Paige, all they have to do is just swipe through their gallery and be refreshed once again. But she did ask, and to our delight, they respectfully said yes. And then she said she had something to say to the audience and the wrestlers in the ring. And what she said was, "I'm back," which for some reason reminded me of Independence Day. I don't know why. The way she said that shit reminded me of fucking Randy Quaid in Independence Day. The last scene when he's about to fly the ship, his fighter jet into the fucking alien ship. And he was like, "On behalf of my generation, up yours!" And then he fucking crashed and saved the world. Fucking Randy Quaid saved the world that day. Anyhow, I'm sidetracking, but yeah, it reminded me of that for some reason. So she tells the whole world she's back, and the whole building is in love with this. I give it 2 weeks before they're out of love with it because that's how her career has been. But right now, she's a big thing. And she comes out and she said, "Well, I'm not alone." She starts walking off to the ring. And Sasha and Mickey are facing Paige. And they get attacked from behind from 2 NXT. And again, I'm using quotations here. Stars. In Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Now, you're probably asking yourself, if you're not too familiar from NXT or not a hardcore internet person or saw Tough Enough, which I think would be the more specific show involving these two. If you didn't see any of the above, you're probably wondering to yourself, who the fuck are these two people? Well, I answered your question already in the description. Mandy Rose came from Tough Enough. She was the runner-up, I believe, and I believe so was Sonya Deville. And the two of them, although they failed in the TV show, were both signed to developmental deals and sent to the PC. They went to the Performance Center to develop their skills as pro wrestlers. It's been a few years now. And every single time that they've tried to put these two in a wrestling capacity in NXT, it has looked horrific. Horrific. Now, Mandy's got a look. Okay? Very porn starry, hoary look. Which works for the WWE. Sonya is my favorite because she has an amazing look. If she can bring her fucking wrestling around, she's going to be great. She's going to be awesome. Love the way she looks. She looks for real. She looks the part. She looks like she could beat you up. And that happened on Raw. So I thought to myself, that's odd. 2 chicks who have very little ring experience, except for training and some house show stuff. But not a whole lot of TV stuff. And the very little limited TV stuff they do have is, as previously described, horrific. Which I guess in this case for Mandy Rose is kind of synonymous. But yes, it's horrific. It's terrible to see. And I thought that would be the end of it. And then we have SmackDown. So SmackDown takes place. A lot of stuff going on. Naomi's in the back discussing a match with the makeup artist for some fucking reason. I guess you're in the chair. You got to talk about something, right? And out of nowhere comes Ruby Riott, the former Heidi Lovelace, who has been in NXT for maybe a year, maybe. But she's been in the industry for a long time. She's well seasoned. I mean, a main roster jump for her does not seem far-fetched. That I can buy. And she's had a good run in NXT for that matter. But she also did not come alone. She came with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Now, Liv Morgan has very limited indie experience. I think she was a Northeast talent for a little while. Sarah Logan was Crazy Mary Dobson on the indie scene, and she's done a few rounds on the NXT tours, but she's also relatively new. Sarah's a little bit more seasoned. She's a little bit more world traveled, so I'm not worried about her. Liv Morgan being sent to SmackDown concerns me greatly. As a matter of fact, all of these concern me greatly. Because there's a term called when the rubber meets the road. Okay? This was bound to happen. This is called bad karma. And I don't mean Awesome Kong karma. I mean, this is bad karma. They had the women's revolution trending. They had newfound interest. They had something in the women's division. I'll start with before the brand split. before they went back to the brand split, they had something genuine. The female wrestlers revolution was a big thing when it really started cooking. Okay, when they had those 3 teams of 3, and then they split off and did all their own things. Led, of course, by the usual 4 horsewomen, and they had a lot going for it. They were having kick-ass matches. They were telling stories. I mean, it reached its pinnacle. Charlotte and Sasha had an amazing feud that, the title bounced back and forth, which is not really that great an idea. But, hey, they had people talking. They were main eventing Raw for a woman was a very difficult idea to grasp until Trish and Lita did it. But they only did it like the one time. Now we were at a point with the Women's Revolution where they were doing it on a regular occasion. It seemed like almost every other week was headlined by another women's title match or even a women's tag match. It was happening so fast. And then we got the women headlining a pay-per-view, which I was a huge advocate for. It was really the only thing you could do at that point, especially for that Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, because that was Sasha and Charlotte had the Hell in a Cell match to close out the show. That particular pay-per-view had nothing on it. Everything on that show was makeshift. Even the other championship Hell in a Cell match between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Even that match, it was just kind of thrown together. And they were just kind of hoping on the athleticism and the fan connection between the two, that was enough to carry it. But as far as a storyline, it's not just worthy of the main event, but worthy of a Hell in a Cell main event. Charlotte and Sasha made the most sense. It made the most sense. And they pulled the trigger and they did it. And I'm happy that they did it. Did the match deliver? Not to the level that I think it could have, and not to the level I think fans would have liked to have seen. And to be fair, I don't think it was to the level that maybe Charlotte and Sasha wanted, especially the way that it ended when they couldn't get Sasha's 10-pound ass through a table. But the point is they didn't have a shitty match. They had a really good match, and it was the main event. And they set the standard. They set the bar right there, and they were kicking it. And then somewhere along the line, I don't know, the writers got bored. Something happened. And all of a sudden, it became a ritual to go backwards. And what I mean by backwards is back during the Diva era, whenever they didn't know, because they never really knew what to do with the women during the Diva era. They didn't know what to do. Do we push 1? Do we push 2? How many do we have altogether? I think we got like 7 or 8. So what ended up happening during the Diva era is that they just had a bunch of scrambles and tag matches. I mean, we would have 6 women tags, 8 women tags, and they would all be ridiculous. So it's like 6 women Santa Claus, little helper matches, where all the women would be dressed up as like elves or Mrs. Clauses, and they would have 8 women tags and 10 women tags, and they would have women's battle royals and a makeshift women's Royal Rumble. The point is they would just have car crash after car crash because they didn't know what to do with them, and a lot of them didn't know how to work. So you couldn't do a whole lot of one-on-ones between freaking Kelly and oh, Jesus, what, Eve Torres. I mean, you couldn't do many one-on-one matches with talent like that. They were beautiful women, and I'm sure they were great performers in their own way, but they weren't exactly wrestlers. Here we had wrestlers, and all of a sudden we started going backwards. I don't know how many times my wife and I would watch Raw or watch SmackDown. We just start laughing because it's just like, well, it would be the same formula. So the champion would defend the title the night before, then it will come on Raw, and then we're like, all right, we need a new number 1 contender. Fatal 4-way, fatal 5-way, a scrambled 6-way. It was every fucking week was another multi-woman match. Battle Royal, 6-woman tag, 4-way, 5-way. They were just coming up with all these unique and different ways to fuck over the women's division. Literally, what was it? WrestleMania. The Raw women's match was a 4-way. The SmackDown women's match was a 6-way. That's 10 divas. I'm sorry, 2 divas being champion and 8 divas being the number 1 contender at WrestleMania. So basically what they're trying to tell you is that whenever the women are on TV, they say, well, who's the champion? Alexa Bliss. Who is she going to wrestle? Everybody! That was the fucking thought process every week. They're just going to wrestle everybody. Fuck it. So here's where karma comes in. When you're exposing all of your talent like that all the time, there's nowhere to go from there. Like I forgot which pay-per-view it was. I think it was like Alexa Bliss had defended in a 4-way. This wasn't that long ago. The pay-per-view name is slipping right now, but it might have been No Mercy. I'm not sure, but I remember Alexa Bliss being in a match. Oh, it was Sasha Banks, Bayley, and it was Nia Jax against Alexa Bliss, right? And Alexa Bliss won clean. Okay, not No Mercy, because that was when she fought Mickie James. Mickie James came after that. But the point is Alexa Bliss beat Nia Jax, Bayley, and Sasha clean in a 4-way. What happens after that? You just burnt all of your top contenders on one match, and Alexa won the damn match. The heel champion retained clean. So who's the next contender? And their idea was, well, we'll go with Mickie James. She's just a seasoned veteran. It'll work. Yeah, but you just spent 3 or 4 months jobbing her ass out. So now what they had to do was they had to rehabilitate Mickie quickly so that they can make her a credible contender against Alexa Bliss. Like, we're supposed to just ignore the fact that for 8 months she was one way, and then for 2 weeks she was back to being superstar. Oh, Mickie, you're so fine. Grabbing Trish by the pussy, Mickie James. It doesn't work like that. So what happens is in essence, in my opinion, this is how I feel through my eyes. They burnt out the women's division. They burnt it out. How many variations of the same 4 or 5 women are we going to see on Raw and SmackDown? So they brought Paige back in, which is not exactly a fresh face, but she hasn't been seen in a while, so she's a fresh contender for different women, not just the champion. And they brought up 5 NXT girls, 2 more on Raw and 3 on SmackDown. And we can have a discussion as to if they're ready or not for the main roster, because many people have been having that conversation. Mandy Rose still to this day has not had an NXT match. Sonya Deville has had a few, but they weren't exactly great exhibitions. Ruby Riott has had a hell of a run in NXT. She didn't get the championship, but she's had a pretty decent run and a great run of matches at NXT. But then Liv Morgan's ready for the main roster? Doubtful. Sarah Logan, I also have my concerns about, because she doesn't have too much TV experience, but she's seasoned enough a performer where I think she'll get it and she'll figure it out. The point is, to all of this, is they're not there because they were ready for the main roster and they're just going to set the world on fire. They were there because the WWE is desperate. They needed to shuffle the damn deck. And they did that this week. And I'm happy they did that, because they picked 6 girls that I think can contribute. But how much? What's detrimental business at this point? Because we're going to say that, okay, 3 on Raw, 3 on SmackDown, that'll shake shit up. And then what happens? So what happens? So now what? Next week we're going to get, Sasha and Bayley. We're gonna get the Sasha, Mickie, and Bayley against Paige, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose. I'm calling it now. It's what we're gonna have on Raw. I promise you. Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Bayley against Paige, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose. That's the match we're gonna get. And we may get a similar match on SmackDown, because remember, they attacked Charlotte, they attacked Naomi. I mean, we're talking about running these ideas into the ground, shuffling the deck just to pull up the same card. That may not work. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm glad there was some call-ups done, and I'm glad that there was some changes made. But I just don't. I'm not 100% sure it's going to work. I hope these ladies have been paying attention in their short WWE career so far, and I wish them the best of luck. I hope all 6 of them work out, including Paige, because that poor woman's been through a fucking enough. They have put this poor woman through a wood chipper for fucking a year or 2 years now. So I actually am rooting for Paige. I hope everything works out for her, and I think that reaction is a good sign. The reaction she got on Monday is a good sign. Man, this Bacardi kicked my ass tonight. This Bacardi hit deep. Got the Bacardi mango with a little orange juice, and warms the blood, if you will. Yeah, Thanksgiving tomorrow. I can't wait to stuff my goddamn face. I cannot wait. Oh, I was gonna get on to the next topic. But before I do, Jesus Christ, I have to. I gotta eat some crow here. I gotta eat some crow. I did a whole show. Episode 6 was on Survivor Series, and I didn't talk about every match, but there were certain matches I did want to get into. One of which was the WWE Champion AJ Styles against the WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. And I said on this podcast, there is absolutely no way that AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar is going to be the match that people think. I fully expected Brock Lesnar to go out there and just make mincemeat out of AJ Styles. 5 minutes at the best, suplex city, toss him around, and just bitch him out and just beat him. That's what I thought exactly what was going to happen. And that did not happen. They had the exact opposite of a match that I thought they would have. Now, to be fair, it is the match that I wanted. It's the type of match that I would have loved to have seen. So the fact that it did happen was amazing. It was awesome. I love that match. To me, that was the best match on the card. You know, the 10-man tag for the men was a car crash. I don't know what the hell was happening in that matchup. And I'm not going to get into it. I'm not, because it's just going to fucking aggravate me more. The fact that the Senior Citizen Club, that match was reversed, okay? Especially based on the reaction that Balor and Shinsuke got. You would have thought, oh my God, that would have been a great finish to that pay-per-view down to those two. You could have did your Kurt Angle, Triple H startup earlier in the match. These fuckers didn't need to be in there for 45 goddamn minutes just for random pedigrees. See, I'm going off on a tangent. Nope. AJ and Brock, I have to eat crow. Stick to the topic because I was just aggravated as fuck when I was watching that on Sunday. But no, AJ and Brock was awesome. I have to eat crow because I said on this podcast I did not think that they were going to allow AJ to do a bunch of things, and they didn't let him do too much, but everything he did had meaning. It made sense. They had a match that made 100% sense. This is the type of match that if you're going to be a smaller wrestler going against Brock Lesnar, what AJ did last night was the blueprint. Now, many people were comparing it to the Punk match, the CM Punk Brock Lesnar matchup from I believe that SummerSlam of 2014, 2014, I think. Yes, 2014. That was the show that had Daniel Bryan and John Cena on it. And Brock Lesnar and CM Punk had an amazing match. To me, it might have been the match of the year that year. And if not for the match that Punk had with Taker. So, the matchup with Brock and AJ was amazing. They did a great job, a phenomenal job, if you will. And I just wanted to bring that up. I didn't want to use like selective memory. I did say it, I was wrong, and I wanted to mention that just real quick before I moved on to the next thing because we're almost getting to that hour here. This was fun. I actually had fun. I feel like I got a lot of shit off my chest on this one. But yeah, one of the things I definitely wanted to bring up is my career as a performer is pretty much over at this point. I would like the option of revisiting it in a few years when I'm done handling all of my personal and home business. But for years, I was a ring announcer and a play-by-play commentator for many companies out in Jersey and PA and mostly New York, where I live and am from. But I mean Maine and New Hampshire, like all over the New England area. Traveled down the East Coast a bit, Baltimore and stuff like that. I've done some pretty cool stuff in my career. I've got to work with a lot of good people. I'm one of 3 commentators that were able to call the one and only show at Six Flags in New Jersey, which is another story for another day. I got to tell some road stories on here. I think that would be interesting. I got quite a few too that would be very interesting to tell. And that particular show had a very cool road story attached to it. But yeah, so I've done some pretty cool things. I've worked with a number of companies. The one that always sticks out and people will remember me the most from is House of Glory in New York. I spent 4 years with them, with many roles as an interviewer, as a ring announcer, as a commentator. Like I had a lot of roles with House of Glory, and I had a good run. It was a good time, and if it wasn't for my personal shit, I probably would still be there. But I haven't really had a chance to do a whole lot over the past, I'll say 6 or 7, pretty much since the summer, I think. Yeah, I think maybe like the summer. Like June, like right before the beginning of summer. I kind of, that was pretty much it. I was kind of done. I was kind of burnt out. A lot of personal stuff going on at home. So I had to make some decisions. And wrestling shows, while fun, and I was getting a lot of bookings, and I worked hard. I was getting a lot of bookings. I was making some okay money, I guess. And I was doing great things. I was having a lot of fun. So I haven't really had a chance to do a whole lot of shows, which is why this podcast is such a great outlet for me, because I can talk about wrestling and not have to worry about any kind of repercussions from people, and just, I'm out of the loop. So I'm kind of a third-party guy at this point. But an old buddy of mine hit me up recently. I made the announcement on the actual Facebook page, but I haven't really had a chance to talk about it on the actual podcast. But there is a company called Fiesta Pro Wrestling that originally came out of the Long Island area, but they're doing their second show out in New Jersey, out in North Jersey, if you will. I've been saying if you will a lot. Apparently when I drink, I turn into Dusty Rhodes. Apparently. So, yes. Fiesta Pro Wrestling is going to be in Skillman, New Jersey, at the Princeton Elks Lodge. I have it here in front of me. It's December 1st. They are at 354 Route 518. That is very confusing, but I'm sure the GPS will figure it out for me. And they have directions and all that stuff on their Facebook page. They have Facebook. They're on Twitter, which is at Fiesta PW. They're on Instagram, Fiesta Pro Wrestling. And there are some tickets still left for this event. They usually do really well. This is not my first time working with Fiesta. I just haven't worked with Fiesta in a very long time. Like I said, I haven't been doing a whole lot of shows. It's been like 7 or 8 months now. So I haven't really done a whole lot of shows. And I will be the color commentator for this show. I'll be doing commentary with Pete Rosado, who is a talented young fellow that I have worked with on a few occasions. So hopefully, this is our first time calling a show together. So hopefully the chemistry will be there. My usual tag team partner when it comes to commentating, Brandon Lewis, the authentic Brandon Lewis. My Bobby Heenan to my Gorilla Monsoon was with me for pretty much most of that 4-year run with House of Glory. We've also called other matches for other companies. And so it's been a long time since I've actually called a show. And I'm going to be calling a show on December 1st. So I wanted to put that out there and let people know to come check it out. You'll get a chance to actually meet me. I'll be there. And I will be a lot less drinky than I am right now. I tend to be a little bit more professional at shows. But here's the thing about Fiesta Pro. What I actually like about it. They don't really frown on that drinking shit. They do like this. They actually do like a ceremonial shot before each match. And instead of going one-on-one, like they say stuff like they're going shot for shot. with with their opponents. So they don't really frown on that shit. So I don't know. I may go fucking nuts at this show. I don't know. I've done some pretty stupid shit at this show. Like it's Fiesta, so I've done like I don't know. I did a show one time with a masquerade mask and these beads, like these Bourbon Street beads and shit. Like it was I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird night. A weird night. I didn't get any titties though. It's a shame. I had all those beads and no one showed me their titties. Yeah. So that's weird. Yeah, I'm running out of gas on this one because Bacardi. Because of drinky. Okay. So, yeah, December 1st, Fiesta Pro Wrestling. You can go to fiestapro-wrestling.bigcartel.com for tickets. They're not that expensive, $10-15. Get yourself a ticket. Come out, see some wrestling matches. I'll be more specific on who's wrestling on the show throughout the course of the next week or so. I have one more podcast before I go on the show, so I'll have more details on the final card if you guys are interested in that sort of thing. And yeah, so I'm not making a full return. I'm not even helping a buddy out. Like I'm not even gonna say that he was in a bind or anything. Like I'm some sort of fucking hero, you know? Like, dude, I don't trust anybody else, bro. Just you. It's just you. You're the only one that I trust. No, he literally just had an open spot because the previous color guy is a former wrestler who was hurt, and he's healthy now, and so a spot opened up, and he was like, "You want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it." I've had an itch, so yeah, sure, I'll go to Jersey and scratch it, see what's up. But it's gonna be a fun time. Fiesta Pro is always a good time. I always have fun at that show. I've never heard anyone go to the show as a fan and say that this show sucks. So that's cool, and it's a good time. So wanted to put that out there. Sorry to get the NXT stuff all. I had a lot of that NXT shit on Facebook. So if you read the Facebook shit and you downloaded this episode, you're probably pissed off right now because you're just hearing what you already read. And if you took the time to read it, you don't want to hear it, I'm sure. So I apologize, but it was just something I wanted to get off my chest. I will have a much better formatted show after the holidays. Well, no, this wasn't a bad format. I gotta stop getting down on myself. This is bullshit. I did a good job. Fuck it. Fuck it. I did a good job. That's it. I'm gonna stop. It's Thanksgiving. I'm thankful, right? That's what we're supposed to do. I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for the opportunity to do the things that I've done this year, and I'm thankful for anything in the future that I'll be doing in 2018. Looking to be a pretty good year, 2018. We'll see. I suffered in 2017 so that I could have an easy 2018. So let's see what happens. So thanks you guys for tuning in and giving me a few moments of your time. And I will kick it into high gear again next week with episode Ocho. The Ocho. I can't wait. It's going to be a good time. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Please listen to my daddy show.
Please listen to my husband's show.